Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 33 of the Glory Days podcast. We are back, and yes, finally, another win! 2 in 3 weeks, lads. We are so back. Perth Glory, we are back on our way to the top, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, never mind, guys. That was the last A-League game of the season, so we got nothing to build on for the next 3 months.
That was funny.
Thank you very much.
We've still got an Oz Cup run to think about.
Alex, that was so forced. I'm just cringing right now.
You look so tired right now, bro. Go to sleep, please.
Tired.
Go to sleep, please.
You've got a Liverpool game to watch.
Well.
Now,
They already played.
another one. Well, they have a bit more later, won't they? Another
Actually,
league
are you tired, or did you just cry your eyes out because Trent is leaving on a free?
game. Good point, mate.
Oh, actually, I just saw the bags in your eyes. Holy crap. Yeah, you look tired.
Dude, I'm tired, eh? Anyway.
Struggle Town. Anyway, yes. So Will, we got to win 2-0.
Hey, no. So,
Oh,
guys,
goodness.
not so Will.
No.
Hey, we're not starting
James.
off like this.
We are not doing this revisionist bullshit, all right? You know what this is?
I didn't
you
say
know what
anything
this
else.
is? No.
We won a game.
James, you are getting dangerously close to those people on Twitter that clip Hitler's speeches in English and play them in English. Oh, he was such a good guy. He was such a good guy. No, this is what you are doing with Zrilich's results this season. Guys, look, we're building towards something, guys. We're building
2
towards something.
wins in our last 3 games. But
2 wins in the last 13.
3.
In our last 13. In our last 13.
3 wins in the last 26.
4 wins all season.
6 goals scored in our last 3 games.
And I only saw,
Why is it? That's not impressive, James.
I literally
Wait, he
only
said
saw
6
one home game win.
Can we just clear this up? He said 6 goals scored in our last 3 games. One of those games was against the worst defense in the league, Adelaide.
Second worst. Because we are the worst. But yeah.
Another was against the most uninspiring Wellington side I've ever seen. like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And it was.
No, just look to your right.
I'm with him here. I'm with him here. You have lost.
I will.
You have lost the plot.
I shall elaborate more in due course.
I don't
But
want
we'll
you
first
to.
of all,
No one wants you
we
to
will
elaborate,
touch on the
James.
fan comments to start off with.
That's a bit weird.
So,
I'll touch your fan comment.
all right, Graham Fletcher.
Yes, Graham Fletcher.
Okay, we'll get started. Graham Fletcher. Tags is still quality. He just needs quality service. Nick, although a disappointing season, thinks Zrilla has done a great job involving the young lads, not rushing them in and clearly developing them. Bulgaria, Labib, Ngo, etc. all look really exciting going into next season. Will be interesting to see how much NPL they play. Lachlan, we are winning the fucker next season.
Oh my god.
Now, on a serious note, not sure if I'm happy about us picking up 2 Wellington players, especially after that display, and really we should have scored 4 or 5. Georgie Shandor and Joya, we need to not forget how bad we were for 90% of the season. Massive overhaul needed. 2 wins in the last 3 doesn't mean it's been a good season.
We love Georgie Shandor and
Thank
I
you.
just
Joya.
realised that. We're happy we won, but 2 of those defenders we bought.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
Wow.
Think
Simon.
about that.
Let that sink in.
Think about that.
Let that sink in.
A comment from Leeds United, Will. Is it too late for us to win the league?
Yes.
And Chicken Treat Fan Club, playing ourselves into form before the Darwin Invitational. Let's go.
Oh man.
Hang on, so when it's the 13 days or something, or 13th of
The
May?
13th of May,
yeah.
we have the Darwin Invitational Oz Cup round. Get around it, boys. We're playing against
I'm
the
so
Coastie.
confused. Why is it so early?
Because they don't want it to drag into pre-season.
Yeah, they want the Oz Cup now to be a post-season thing rather than a pre-season.
or at least the
thing.
qualifiers.
Well, I don't understand that realistically. I don't know why they don't just do it during the season. Actually, probably because it doesn't align with the NPL schedule. Forget what I said.
Yeah.
Why are we not aligning the NPL schedule with the A-League schedule? Like, that's besides the point, but why have we not done that yet?
I don't know.
It makes zero sense that we don't do that.
Cheers.
Ask Football Australia.
This is like, who cares? Let's move on to the actual game.
No,
Will,
well,
the lineups.
Well, hold on. But
No,
hold
no,
on. You,
Will.
you
I'm
might
not
get a bit
having this,
disappointed, Will.
I'm not having this.
What?
Because we have to be positive because it was a win.
I love being positive when it's the right time to be positive. We won the spoon.
I will just say, in regards to the Darwin Invitational,
Yes.
we have the possibility of being the last ever club to play Central Coast Mariners if they don't get their shit sorted.
Yeah, that is true. That.
So true.
Really?
Yeah, because they've got ownership. They've got big problems.
All right,
By the looks of things.
I thought Western United were about to go under, and then they've sorted it out within 2 days.
Well, they've still got dodgy owners. But anyway, lineup. Only one change was made. Josh Risdon was not in the squad. And Takuya Okamoto was brought in. Were you happy with it? Or did you want to see someone like, Seb Despotowski get a run, or maybe one of the other young guys get a go? What do you think?
No, I thought, I thought the lineup was decent. It surprised me. I thought everyone played quite well. So,
fair enough. Alex?
Look, I said it on the last podcast. Why are you doing that? I said it. We're gonna. I said on the last podcast episode that I wanted this to sort of look. I am happy that we put out a relatively decent lineup and won the game.
Yeah.
Though I thought this was a really good opportunity to just throw out the young boys and give us something to be excited about
Yeah.
next season.
Yeah.
Pearman starting was nice. Nearly scored a cracking goal near the end of the game.
Yeah.
Look, as much shit as we give Trent Osler sometimes, I thought he was fine. Good to see him get a start and do decently. Majex, another start. Looked a bit shaky with his passing at time, but I thought, I was happy to see him starting. But look, there's guys on that bench like Bulgaria and Go, Despotovsky I would have liked to see get a start. Lizalarski obviously not fit, which is unfortunate. Yeah, same with Labib as well. So
Pennington, it seems he did a thingy, some sort of knock.
Yeah,
that he had,
some sort of knock.
He got in the bye week.
Yeah, the bye week.
Yeah, that's what they were saying on commentary. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, look, I was fine with the lineup. Realistically, we're at that point in the season where we're all just waiting for it to end. So it's good to end on a positive note. But I would have liked to see maybe a few more minutes for some of the young guys.
I'm just going to add real quick, Ollie Sale, every time he goes to New Zealand, he just becomes prime Buffon.
He's trying to earn that contract, bro. I swear. He knows that Auckland are getting rid of Poulsen next season. They can't get him back on loan. He's like, I've lined up my next move, boys. Here we go.
It's probably true, to be fair.
There's probably, I mean, we're not confirming anything, but I think, if you connect the dots.
Yes, we are. We're an exclusive news source.
If you connect the dots, well, number one, Ollie is on a quite inflated contract relative to other goalkeepers in the A-League, and that's not necessarily a secret. That's been something that has been made public quite a number of times, and we need to, heading into next season, make sure that we plan our squad not just from a profile perspective, but from a financial perspective much better, and not be hamstrung to the point where it's like, shit, do we have enough room in our cap to bring in higher quality players next season? But I think just in terms of the lineup, and then Will, I'll let you have your say. Solid. I thought it was just, I think Franey had a good performance against Auckland, and I thought he was equally good against Wellington as well. I thought all the boys played fairly well, and I can't ask for much more at this point in the season when they could have very easily just said, nah, fuck it. What's the point? Go and get a draw and then go home. But, happy with everyone that played, Will.
You gonna say something?
He just.
What did you think of the fullbacks?
The fullbacks played very.
I agree, actually. Yeah, I thought they played pretty good.
They were good.
Yeah, they were great. Sorry, Alex. Just
Alex is just losing it. But anyway,
no, he just did something to me. He just went just stared at me and went. Anyway, no, I would have liked if the lineups were a little bit more youth based.
We did call for it last week.
Yeah, we did, because it was like we got nothing to play for other than pride, which again is always good to play for a win, regardless of the situation. But I wouldn't have minded if you just said, "Hey, hey Tags, you stay home. We'll give Sebi a run. We'll give the younger guys a run. We'll give maybe some NPL players who have played really well, such as Sebi, the chance to come in and get some experience on the road." It is nice to get a win, but I probably would have liked a little bit more. Like Sebi only got what under a minute.
He got like a minute and a
30
half.
seconds.
I
think he could have definitely given the younger. I know Kwai did put in a good shift when he did come on, but I would have
Bulgaria also.
I would have rather that they got more time though, or at least started in the lineup.
That just really annoyed me as well when Sebi only came on for a minute and a half. I'm like, you bring the kid over there. Like, I understand you wanted to wait until you won the game, and when Taggart makes it 2-0 in the 92nd, they're not exactly coming back, so it's like a throwaway sub. But it's just like, come on, man.
I think Seb should have been brought on in the last 10-15 because we're not playing for results.
Man.
We're not playing for results anymore, and there was enough fanfare about Seb being involved in the squad. Okay, I can understand you not wanting to risk him in a big game like playing against Auckland, but Wellington barely get anyone coming to their games anymore. Their crowds have gone in the toilet. It's the last game of the season. I think it wouldn't have hurt, especially for Zrilla trying to, I guess, rebuild his perception and reputation among Glory fans.
Yeah.
If he put Despotowski on earlier
Exactly.
and gave him more time, and because there's still not a great reputation of Zrilla.
I mean, surely he should, with the Oz Cup, get more minutes.
Oh, you'd hope,
100%.
you'd hope so.
100%.
For sure.
You'd hope
Yeah.
so, because he's been smashing in the NPL, so he deserves a chance.
That's going to be something interesting as well with the Oz Cup. Do you reckon we're going to see... Because obviously there are sort of, the players that, you're assuming are going to be leaving the club. Do you reckon we even include some of those names in those Oz Cup games, do you reckon? Do you reckon the Oz... I guess the better way to phrase it, do you reckon the Oz Cup games are going to be more of a glimpse into sort of the squad that we're going to be building on top of going into next season?
I think it'll be younger players. It's too soon, so
Yeah.
I doubt Sutton or wouldn't.
Well, they won't be contractually available. They won't be
just-
released yet.
I was thinking about this,
Yeah,
about
but
what
it's
we're
in
actually going
March,
to do.
right?
May. Yeah.
I was thinking what we're going to do with the Oz Cup, and just some of the ways that we in the members forum, the way he talked about Unite round and how it doesn't really benefit us for going or not, so we don't really want to partake in it. I wonder what the thought process of Australia Cup is going to be.
Well, what was it
Are they going to actually care, or are they just going to field a bunch of young guys and just say, who cares, we're focusing on the league?
When you think about the members forum as well, another thing that they said was that they were really disappointed. They almost seemed pissed off by the fact that they did well in the Oz Cup because it meant that we couldn't do that preseason tour of India.
Yeah, they were using
and
it as
Singapore.
Yeah,
And Singapore as well.
I just wonder if this season they're actually just going to say, you know what, we don't actually want to be part of the Oz Cup because it doesn't benefit us financially.
That's such a fucking shitty thing to do.
It 100% is.
Because we need to be developing a mindset and a culture that's all about winning and high
Correct.
performance and high standards.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rejecting the opportunity or not wanting to take an opportunity as seriously as we possibly could be
Yeah.
by going, well, fuck, the Australia Cup doesn't really mean that much. But we'll have to see.
Well,
We're only speculating as to what sort of squad they'll put out.
Here's the thing.
Sorry.
Well, you go.
No. Our last 3 games, I felt like, look, we played a lot better, and that just shows to me they've panicked a little bit and gone, because especially they didn't want to lose against Auckland, they didn't want to get the spoon. So it just shows to me that it proves that it's a mentality issue.
No, 100%.
Because where was that 20 rounds ago,
Yeah. And look, I have no problem with the boys going balls to the wall for this game against the Mariners in the Australia Cup. And look, if we lose, we lose. If we win, then reevaluate the situation. If you want to use it as an opportunity going into next season to maybe get more of your youngsters out onto the pitch or get your new signings out onto the pitch, whatever. As long as we have a strong and well-structured preseason schedule, I couldn't care less. What we need to be doing in terms of preseason, right? I think the Oz Cup, you need to have a good Oz Cup run.
Yeah.
I think it is.
critical.
I feel like there's a
Critical.
direct link between a good Oz Cup run and a good A-League season. 100%.
And
I'm not going to say
and no.
I'm not saying our run was a good run. All right, I don't consider getting knocked out by Moreton City a good run.
Yeah, but yes and no, because MacArthur won the Oz Cup and they finished 8th.
Correct.
They had a very good start to
And
the season though. They had a
I know,
really good
I know,
start
but
and then dropped off heavy.
But it
towards the
doesn't
end.
directly correlate
I
to
don't
us.
think it directly
but
correlates.
the point is,
I think
is
a good Oz Cup run sets you up for a good start.
The better point is when we've bitched about a lack of games, as Stan Lazaridis did in that members forum, forfeiting an opportunity to get high quality games against teams of all sorts would be such a stupid thing to do. But I think it'll also be interesting to see how we incorporate that with some of the possible preseason games that may be lined up for us. But on the Wellington game, given that we're talking about it, I thought, I thought we started fairly well. We should have been 1-0 up as soon as the first 10 minutes, 10th minute rather. There was the opportunity where Trent Ostler played a great ball over the top to Jalen Pearman, and it was screaming out for him to just sweat it over to Tags just to tap it in. He tried going for the shot, hit it straight at their goalkeeper, and I think a little bit after that play, I think you can hear Tags over the microphone going, "Are you fucking kidding me?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jalen's been top all season, and we probably would have expected for him, given he's been fairly mature with his performances thus far, to have squared it to Tags. But
I still don't blame him for at least taking
no, you you back him to give it a go, given he has been in good form. But I think
it's easy to be frustrated.
Yeah.
Yes, you should have squared it, but at the same time, you can't blame him for having a go.
no. But I think that's just been one of our broader problems this season with our attack, and that our decision making just hasn't been consistently from round 1 to round 28 or 29, whatever it is. It just hasn't been at the standard necessary for us to have a crack at playing finals football. But I just think in terms of our start, I think we showed more of a desire to win the game than Wellington did, which was, for me, a little bit of a surprise given how shit Wellington have been all season.
Yeah, and I think we can have a conversation. It's a little bit off topic, but we can talk about whether or not Zrilic should stay. Right,
Ooh.
right. That's a conversation, and there's arguments to be had that next season we're gonna, we've been promised more funding, more players, more this, more that. Right. If you look around the league at other clubs who have really struggled this year too, after expecting bigger things, who have not been promised more funding and better players, it's just kind of like, let's see what happens next season, such as Brisbane and Wellington, but yet they're holding on to their current managers. Like Ruben's more than likely staying with Brisbane.
No, he's gone.
He's gone.
Oh, with what?
Michael Valkanis.
Haven't you
Sorry.
reading
soccer Twitter?
No.
Michael Valkanis is going to replace him.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Was this today?
No, this has been for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
Because he wanted.
Ruben all but confirmed he was leaving in his press.
He was apparently
I'm
The
so
famous
sorry.
my data analyst is a
a pizza manager.
pizza manager.
I am behind on the news, but my point wasn't, to be fair, it was about Brisbane. It was about Wellington and how they've had a really not a very good season at all in comparison to what they were very recently, and yet they've re-signed him to another deal.
and
Chiefly, yeah.
and apparently Sydney alleged. I haven't seen that.
They've agreed it, but they've not signed off.
They've
Yes.
agreed to a 2-year extension
So,
for Tallow.
But you will know Sydney will get funding. They'll get money.
Yeah.
Like it's Sydney. But I just wonder. And then the Mariners are in their own hole. Western have just managed to get out of their own hole hypothetically. It's a whole. Maybe when we do our end of season review podcast, we can talk more about it. But the state of what's currently acceptable in the league in terms of performances and what's allowed to be slid under the rug. It feels like Wellington really needed to hit a full reset after this season because they were nowhere near the quality we thought they might try and be, and yet it feels like the people involved with that have been rewarded.
Especially given that Auckland are now in the league as well. You
Look,
would have really
I
thought.
know this is controversial, but I feel like I don't blame Wellington for backing their manager because you got to remember last season they were doing very well. Like they nearly won the league, but you can't just bet they've one bad season and then you can't just sack him. That's not the solution.
I don't
and
think
you look
it's
at these.
true.
You look at these
Yeah.
Sydney FC fans all like having a sook about Tale,
Yeah.
and it pisses me off because they're playing really good football and they shouldn't have spent that extra money getting like Senna or Oinham. I don't know how you say his
Wayne.
name.
Yeah.
Wayne,
Yeah.
whatever. And they should have bought in another like quality.
No, I do agree with that. I feel like see here's the thing, right? It's such a grey area when you look to sort of managers and how much they're responsible for their team underperforming.
Yeah.
How much it is down to managers and how much it is down to players. But when you look at a situation like Sydney, you do see, okay, Tale is a good manager. He's an A-League proven manager. He plays good football.
Yep.
The investment, I think pretty much any Sydney fan will tell you, I think they overinvested in their midfield and
Correct.
attack and underinvested
More
heavily.
so in their attack. Yeah.
Look at Corica. He
Heavily
got sacked
underinvested.
from Sydney and he's
Oh, yeah,
won the league.
but
with Auckland.
heavily underinvested in their defence. But then you look at the Wanderers, I think they invested smart, invested in the right areas,
Yeah.
and Stajic, who I don't think is as good of a coach as Talai, finished better with that is a call I'm going to make, but he doesn't play
Okay.
as good football. I don't think he's
I
as
can understand.
Hold on,
tactically adaptable as
Staj has done a very good job. This
I'm not
season.
saying did I
No, he's a better
Sorry,
coach.
sorry,
I
sorry,
think.
Will, I must
so
be-
you
I
hate
must- I
pancakes.
must be going schizo over here.
Just wait.
Did I say that Stadge was not a good manager?
No,
I
I
don't
think we said on this podcast that Stadge isn't a good manager because we didn't want another Stadge type manager.
No, I did not say that Stadge is not a good manager. I said I did not want another Stadge type manager in terms of his style of football.
What do you mean?
As in, I didn't want someone who was going to rely solely on counterattacks, who was going to concede majority of the possession per game, and then
Right.
look to hit teams on quick counters.
Who scored more goals in Western Sydney this season?
Oh my! So you hate pancakes, right? Like honestly,
No.
bro. I'm trying to.
How else are we going to put it this way?
No. But here's the thing. I said that in the context of David Zrilic.
Yeah.
We've seen over the evolution of the season has gone away from his Red Bull philosophy towards just
Yeah.
going to pure Stadge ball.
Yeah.
It has been acknowledged many times that this end product that we're seeing now against teams like Adelaide, teams like Wellington, is identical to what we were seeing under early Stadge ball.
Right.
So we've sacked Stadge to bring in a younger Stadge.
Not necessarily.
I didn't want
necessarily.
I didn't want to see us sack Stadge to then bring in another stat.
He was. He wasn't officially sacked. He was given an offer to coach Western Sydney Wanderers, for as much as there were the suggestions that the board or the elements of the club wanted him gone. But
it's pretty evident.
But the point is that, you know, what I will say is that teams can have big jumps in the space of one season, because we were saying in the back end of last season, no, we do not want Aloisi. 12 months later, we're now saying, actually, we really like Aloisi. So I think what we can see, though, is if...
It's not always the manager.
No, but it's been proven now over the last 5 seasons, let's say, teams can have meteoric jumps.
Yeah,
so
sure.
The thing will be whether... Because I personally think, for as much as it gives Will the shits, I think in these last 3 games in particular, and I know it's not a definitive sample size, but I think in these last 3 games in particular, we've shown promising signs. Does it mean that we're going to make the finals next season?
We have shown promising signs, but I want to go back to my point on Stage.
Right.
I do agree with you that teams can have meteoric rises, managers, players can have meteoric rises like that. But I still think that when we were going from Stage to a new manager, our ambitions were much higher than John Aloisi. The only reason we want Aloisi now is because this Zrilic project so far has been a massive calamity, and we see an opportunity to get the Aloisi brothers, both of which have coached in the A-League. Ross actually did all right at Brisbane before he left to go to China.
But we also didn't want to didn't want to take Ross as a head coach.
We didn't want to take him as a head coach. But as an assistant, under John, who has won the A-League before...
But that
is a good...
We were not making that. We were not making this argument last year, though. We're shifting the goalposts.
No, but we're not. But that's because when we get rid of Stage, I'd say we expected us to aim a lot higher than getting another coach whose first head coach managerial gig. And I understand that we were all excited by the prospect of Zrilic. I will admit, I was excited by it as well. Because when you look at his resume as an assistant manager and who he's learnt under, of course you're going to get excited. But looking at it in hindsight, which is like, you know, hindsight's a beautiful thing, a brilliant thing. Looking at it in hindsight, when we're going from Stage to a new manager, if you say, oh, we're going to get rid of Stage and bring in John Aloisi, obviously you're not going to want to do it, right? But if you say we're going to go from Zrilic to John Aloisi, it's a lot more better.
But I think
a lot better.
No, but I also don't think really in hindsight, now that we've had this season to analyse things and understand the context in which what's happened this season, I don't really think any coach would have been able to have gotten us out of the bottom 4. I think the highest we possibly could have finished was around about 8th or 7th.
No, I agree.
I think we're now making this assessment now with the added benefit of hindsight, where we've seen that it's not easy to put in any system where you've got to use 1, 36 players, which is a league high, and 2, and this is a really critical one, after January, when we brought in those players in, not one was at 100% fitness or was playing consistently and was at the right level. Okamoto and Misao had been out since, or for at least a few months, given when the J-League season ends. Mm-hmm. Same with Lockie Wales with Korea. He barely played in Korea. Mm-hmm. And Luke Amos had barely played with Hibs. Right. And so we were, now with that added context, for as much as we are lowering our standards, was it really that much of a major issue for the fact that we didn't see meteoric improvement this season?
No.
This doesn't mean that Zrilic gets a free pass next season.
Okay, fair.
Because the point is, I would like to hope that we sign players fit to start pre-season, because Zrilic was also saying...
And sign them early.
Well, the thing is, as well as Zrilic was saying, a lot of the players that we did sign heading into this season were all injured or not fit. Right. And this is the thing, if you're trying to coach a high pressing system and you got a lot of your good players out injured or not fit, well then you're sort of trying to, work with a 2 or 1 arm tied behind your back, depending on how you view it. So I think at least in this game against Wellington, do you know how many big... I've got the numbers here with me. We had 18 shots to Wellington's 9. 9 on target for Wellington's 1, 5 big chances created for Wellington, an XG of 2.23 per foot mob for Wellington's 0.78, 2.16 from open play for the Glory, 0.74 for Wellington. We had 30 touches in Wellington's box, they had 23, and we had 17 tackles to Wellington's 12. I distinctly remember that episode that we had after the first time we played Wellington this season, where we mentioned XG, we mentioned certain stats and how far away we were from Wellington. And I know Wellington are not a great side, but we have made clear strides with an undercooked squad since that point. But I'm not jumping into any conclusion that we are going to be making the finals next season. I don't think I can't say on current evidence that we will. But I'm just saying, all I am going to say is there has been improvement, and I think this game was another example of us doing something that we haven't done, which is beat a beatable opposition.
Fair.
Because even after the bye where we had the games against Newcastle, who was it after Newcastle in that bye? Was it Melbourne Victory?
No, it was.
I think it was Newcastle, Melbourne Victory, Mariners, and then City or Sydney, or one of those sides.
Yeah, no,
and we were all thinking, well, they're all winnable. We didn't win any of those games. Yet we beat Adelaide. Yes, we somewhat got a little bit embarrassed in Auckland because it could have easily have been 3 or 4-0, but we managed to do well to make it just one goal. And then you go away against Wellington, where we haven't beaten Wellington since 2020.
Yeah.
And we beat them away from home, where it could have easily have been 3 or 4 or 5-0.
Fair.
I
Also,
mean,
just really
definitely
quick.
after that. Sorry, Will. After the Adelaide game, maybe this is a coincidence, but it almost felt like the players had been waiting for Dave to get sacked, and since the club came out and publicly said they're backing Dave for next season, everything's changed and their mindset's changed. So I don't know, maybe it's just a coincidence, but
It's a fair point.
I feel like you do, in Dave's defence, you do have to look at the other clubs and like Sydney and realise that no manager can work a miracle, and I do feel like there are standards and issues at the club that isn't in Dave's control.
And we've said this for some time. It's not just on Dave as to why we've been shit this season. And I think going back to the game, we did play some good football. I think Taggart's goal, there was some good bits of build-up play.
It looked like last season Tags.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There was got to give credit to Trent Osler here, because it was his. Just hold on. His counter. It was his movement that dragged some of the Wellington defenders towards him, and that allowed Yuto Misao to make the running behind.
Yep.
Osler could have just been stagnant or just made a running behind himself, and there wouldn't have been that disruption between the Wellington backline. He dropped. Murchler played the ball over to Misao. Wicked ball to Tags, and then some great individual brilliance from Tags, and we deservedly 1-0 up. And again, like we will echo from that Adelaide game, where the fuck was that all season?
Yeah.
But were there any other thoughts on Taggart's first goal, boys?
No, I thought it was a great ball by Misao, personally. Look, that's hopefully the role that Sam Sutton or Lijalowski is going to fill next season.
I hope so as well.
100%.
Great touch by Tags.
Oh,
Gun,
beautiful.
bro, honestly, he's a wicked player.
Beautiful. Yeah, look, I thought Trenny had a good game. I'm happy with keeping him on as a squad player next season, personally. He's still young. He's still got some room to improve.
No, I agree, but not as a winger. He is not a winger.
No. I'm not saying as a winger. I'm saying as a good squad player,
Yes,
he can fill gaps. He fills a lot of gaps. He's very good.
Will, what did you think of the goal?
Very good goal.
Is that all?
No, I was just going to say...
Did you even watch the game?
Yes, of course.
Fake fan.
No, I was just going to ask you boys really quick for your guesses about who's going to win MGP, because it's happening right now. And Tags just won Members Player of the Year, and Pearman won Young Player of the Year, but they haven't announced the actual most glorious player yet.
Who's going to win MGP?
I think Pennington.
You reckon Pennington?
I'd like to see Pennington win it.
I've got the notifications on my watch, so I'll see it come through.
Okay, cool.
But I'm probably going to say Tags. I reckon he'll win that too.
Who do you think will win the MGP?
Tags is an easy answer, but I'm going to say...
Kanga.
No. I'm going to say... No, this is a real difficult one, because I don't want to just say Tags. I'd have to say Pennington.
It's going to be
Amos.
It's not going to be.
No,
Amos.
it won't be
It's
Amos,
not going to be
no.
Amos.
It's got to be Penn, sure.
It'll be the Pennington or Tags. It should be Pennington probably. They'll give it to Tags.
You know what?
Tags is the golden goose, mate.
I changed my vote. I'm going to go Risdon. I reckon they're going to give him it to him because
yes, if he can play the full season, but he played half.
Yeah, but I still think the performances he did put in were fantastic.
I'm gonna say this game.
I will have a controversial opinion here though.
Go on,
I reckon if Doggy Carluccio stayed the full season, he would have won MGP.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I think Doggy's good, but I don't think he would have.
I reckon he
level. I think
he would have. I think he would have. Personally.
But just on Risdon real quick.
Yeah.
I miss you, Doggy.
Okamoto, I think, demonstrated not that he should be our right back next season, but I think there should be a conversation about we need to get a younger and fitter right back that can play.
Risden's the best.
No, because
we
he's
can keep Risden.
no. I'm not saying get rid of Risden. I'm saying we need someone that's going to be there to start more than Risden, where you can look to use Risden for some of the more defensive games where we need to, like that
Are
Auckland
you
game.
saying
he
replace
was
the
top.
Rizzler? Right.
No, I'm saying that we need to be thinking about our squad development here, guys.
No, Risden's immortal.
No.
I love Rizzo, but he can't be the guy next season.
Here's the thing,
over
right?
the whole
Here's the thing.
season.
Risden absolutely can be that guy for us to come off the bench and help see our games, especially if we're going to be looking to transition to a back five, which we should be.
I don't think we will.
We should be, considering that we're going for Scott Wooten and Sam Sutton. Scott Wooten is not fast enough to keep up with a two-man defence, and Sam Sutton has just so much attacking ability that it would be a waste to put him at left back.
I don't know if he'd work in a back five though, because he can't really play.
He's played in a back five his whole career on Chiefy, bro.
Yeah, but no now. Because, like, I don't know, you just can't... I don't know if he has the speed and he can't really whip in a ball.
No, I think he
Sam
can.
Sutton.
No, I think he can.
No.
Risden. Scott.
Risden.
No.
Risden,
I'm
no.
saying as a right centre back in a back five.
No,
Oh, no.
I just no.
He played there. He played there for Western United.
No, I
That
don't.
sounds dumb.
No, I don't.
Silly Alex.
Risden for me is somewhat. But didn't we have this conversation earlier in the season though
Yes,
that
we
Risden
did.
should be looking to be used more conservatively for next season?
Yeah, I agree.
Given that he doesn't have the same fitness levels and stamina and work rate that he had before.
No,
Who would you sign as your ideal right back option then?
Simmons.
I'd look at Aiden Simmons, but he's a bit of a rogue shout, and this is probably going to be.
Would you look to go for someone like a Josh Rawlins?
No. I'd look at no.
Josh Boykin.
No, I reckon, and you're not going to like this, Alex.
Oh, here we go.
Dane Ingham as a budget option off right back.
Dane Ingham in the big 25.
Idiot, bro.
In the big
James,
2025.
25.
Mouth, bro.
I
Shut
would
up.
not say
Shut
no
up.
to
He's
it.
like 36.
What are you going to tell me
25.
next? That you want Tag's striking partner to be fucking Rukavica?
You're the one that said replace Tags with Fornaroli and have Novello as his understudy.
As a joke.
No, that wasn't a joke. No, was that actually a joke?
Okay.
Because that was genuinely bad. That was
wasn't.
awful.
Okay. I'm gonna give context to the people at home. All right. The Fornaroli interview on Suited and Booted came out. Okay, and then I don't remember what it was, but someone
was it
sent
the GPS or something else?
I don't remember what it was, but someone sent a clip of Fornaroli saying he loves Perth or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Oh boys, what if we get rid of Tags and then replace him with Fornaroli with Novello as the understudy?"
I don't think it was said like that, but anyway.
What? That was exactly how it was said. Why would you want to get rid of Tags and replace him with a 35-year-old Fornaroli?
He's 38.
Is he 38?
Oh,
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
No, he's not.
I was going to say that was bad even for you. I didn't think you were joking, but I'm glad you were joking because that was awful. I genuinely.
Of course I was joking.
I frowned at my.
No, but I'm
more
also but on the right back thing, I'm more so inclined to get someone like Aiden Simmons rather than Dane Ingham. That was more from the.
I'm just surprised.
Hold on.
Why Dane Ingham?
Because we need to be effective because we've got a hard cap coming in.
Okay, but you could have said Aquilina.
No.
You could have said. So you say no to Aquilina, but yes to Dane Ingham.
I want
you
more
say
of a
yes
bastard,
to Dane
bro.
Ingham.
I'm more
you
of a
could have said
bastard.
Bert Gilroy.
What
You
about-
could have said
no.
Aquilina.
No.
You could have said. You could have said.
Ingham's improved in spades since
but
he
what
left us,
about,
boys.
what about, he didn't play much for Auckland, but he's a Perth boy.
Scott Galloway?
Yeah, Galloway.
Oh, he's barely played minutes though the whole last.
And you want to bring in Dane Ingham?
because he's played more.
Brother,
and
stop,
more-
please. Brother, stop, please. We have moved, but
Aiden Simmons.
even in our current state, we have moved past the need for Dane Ingham.
Hold on. I would rather go for Aiden Simmons if I could, because I think there's more to develop. It's more from it's whoever we can get. That's sort of where I'm at.
This guy.
This is where I'm at.
The past 3
This is where
James,
I am at.
James, I don't know if you're trying to do some rage bait clip fun.
Not at all.
The past month, you have come up with the most awful takes. Awful takes. Oh, Zrilic is the answer, boys. We're back.
never said
We're
that.
so back. I can see exciting things ahead. Let's get Dane Ingham. He's going to fix our right back problem.
Alex,
Shut up, James.
Alex. If you didn't take any notion from the fact James just goes, of course not. If you
No,
don't,
this man is being fully serious, Will. I can tell. No, don't even try and do it like you're baiting, because I can tell when you're being serious. You, with chest, said, we should go for Dane Ingham. We should go for Dane Ingham.
no, as a budget option.
As a backup, not as a fucking starter.
As a budget option, I'm not saying no.
What about, like... this is-
Okay, I'm sorry. You said no to Callum Timmins as a budget option.
Oh no, hold on. I said he would actually be a decent signing, but it's like it depends on what his role will be.
James, I swear on Monday you said absolutely not, and then on Wednesday you're like, yes.
I'm
He
resigned
does
to
this
it.
all
I'm
the time.
resigned to it. I'm
Need I
resigned to it.
remind you
No.
of every transfer window we do? We suggest to him players.
That
he
is
says,
true.
"Nah, that'd be an awful idea."
And then
2 weeks
And then
later,
I'll sign it,
I
yeah.
reckon.
No, but it's
Not
even-
even. I said
not
at the start of the
even 2
season,
weeks
I said
later.
Lockie Wales. I said get Lockie Wales.
I
He
said Wales.
No, you didn't. I said Wales. You said it would be a terrible idea.
No, I didn't.
And then you came back mid-season.
When did I say it'd be a
and
terrible
said, get
idea?
Lockie Wales.
I remember that.
I will go back
When
through the archives.
When
and
did
get
I
this,
say
James.
that?
I don't
I suggested Wales.
James, I will go back through the archives and get this, bro.
Fair
I
enough.
swear, I will do it.
I thought everyone liked the idea of getting Lockie Wales.
Keep your eyes on the Glory Days Twitter because I'm going to clown this man.
No, but my point is we've got to be careful financially, and we've got to be careful with what we can bring in. Right.
Okay, just real quick though, what is the deal with Wales?
Achilles.
They live in the water. They're mammals.
No, but
Greenpeace.
like-
No, he's done his Achilles apparently, or he's got some Achilles issues, so they didn't want to risk
He's
him.
done his Achilles. That's bad, bro.
Well, there's Achilles. As far as I understand it, there are some Achilles issues.
I do want to quick. Should we? I kind of want to address the whole like 3 million hard cap coming in after next season.
Do it a little
Boys,
bit later.
this
Do we
is
want to do that later?
Do a bit of
yeah.
later.
This
We'll do
I'm gonna-
that
This is a
post-season
mess,
review.
lads. We have been,
Oh,
There is no
Shocker.
structure.
Something Perth Glory related. It's an absolute mess.
We have been recording for about 45 minutes, nearly that, maybe 40.
We literally
and we
got up-
have
we literally
not
got up to
even
pyramid shot
gotten
in the
to
10th minute.
half time.
We've got to
Come
pyramid-
on.
Have got to
We got to
halftime.
pyramid
Have
shot in
we?
the 10th
Yes,
minute
we
and
have.
rambled on.
And
Did
then
we?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I missed out on like the second target goal because my free VPN ran out. And
Fair.
I had to watch another ad
Counter
and then-
attack goal. It was a good goal.
Yeah, no, I think I to conclude on that game, on another day, we could have come away from that at minimum with a 3-0 win.
Completely agree.
At minimum 3-0. I thought, it was very unfortunate that our second goal, Pearman's first goal, was unlucky to be ruled offside because I thought there was some great link-up play aside from that. But yeah, I think we looked a threat whenever we went forward, and then every time when Wellington went forward, I had that feeling of, well, we can deal with it.
See, that's what my point was with Chiefy before. It feels like they've given him another deal. And don't get me wrong, what he's done with them the last few seasons has been really good. Like that run they went with, nearly won the A-League. It was fantastic, right? But
I don't think they were convincing, though.
no,
That's the
they
thing.
weren't. And I just feel like teams have now figured them out.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, as long as you have a solid 4 defenders back against Wellington at most times, they won't score on you because they don't really have that much attacking threat.
No.
And as long as you can hit them on the counter with some decent pace, you will win or at least draw.
This is why adaptability is so key, though. That's why I'm really hoping Zrilic can actually...
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen much from Zrilic in terms of adaptability.
We did.
We have now.
Well, no. In terms of the sense of, like, him actually wanting to adapt, not him being forced
Yeah,
to
but I think
adapt.
he's now accepted he has to, and what we've
He
seen
has
so
to,
far
yeah,
from
that's
that
it.
has been pretty good.
I think he knows that we can't go full.
It did take him nearly the whole season
Yeah.
to do it, but at least he's
we
doing it
can't,
now.
We can't clearly play that whole like Red Bull, absolutely intense, hectic, helter-skelter brand of football.
No.
But he did say that he wanted to see more intensity
Yes.
for longer for next season, which is something that I want
Yeah.
to see because I think there's been too many times where teams have been able to get out of our pressure or get
For
out
sure.
of their half.
Very
And
easily.
we need to be a side that can pin the opposition in,
Yeah.
especially at home. We
Yeah.
got to make HBF Park a fortress for next season, and you'd like to hope with more players and with more time of the guys understanding what Driller wants from his system,
Yeah.
that we can see it in a better quality for longer. That's what the hope would be. And on Taggart's second goal, it showed that when we went with that counter-attack sort of model, it was very similar to Pearman's fourth goal. I mean, because it was Bulgaria driving with the ball. Great run.
Great run from the booger. It was really good.
Yeah, and great great run from Cry and Go.
Yeah.
That's a fucking hell of a
And
call.
the booger the booger found and Go and a really cute but
Great pass as well.
yeah, but
It's Tags.
a great finish from Taggart.
Yep.
And yeah, I just think the disappointing thing, like we touched on earlier, Seb Despotovsky should have played more.
For sure.
Should have played more. Bobby was there at the game.
Oh, good.
He was there at the game. It would have been better for Zrilic. I think he would have won a few more fans back
Yeah.
if he played him for longer.
Yeah, he wouldn't have won them back. I think he would have been on the road.
He would, It would have. He would have like slowly started.
He
that
would have
process.
ended the season on a high note.
Yeah,
Of people
them-
going, you know what? Okay, I can get behind.
Yeah,
that.
You know what? Maybe I don't hate this guy.
I don't hate him. I
Yeah,
really
well,
hate anyone,
don't.
thank you, Alex.
No, but
I
do.
don't hate anyone,
No,
mate.
it's
That's the
fuck
hate's a very
Lewis
bad
Kanga.
word.
whoa.
Okay, whoa.
So, Will, why do you hate? No, I'm joking.
Okay.
No, but final thoughts on the Wellington game, unless they've announced the MGP.
Sorry, I'm just checking.
Have they?
No. So Taggart's got the golden boot, obviously.
Oh,
Whoa.
shocked.
But Amos has one goal of the season.
Shock.
Of course.
Shock.
Yeah.
Great finish.
Not the Pearman goal against Auckland.
Yeah, interesting.
Nah,
Nah,
Amos had to win it.
that
That
Amos,
goal
that
was
Amos
outrageous.
knuckle
That
ball
wasn't
was
outrageous, yeah.
ridiculous.
Outrageous.
And with that, Amos has signed a new 5-year deal.
Yes!
Any final thoughts on the Wellington game, guys?
Happy that we won.
Are you?
I'm always happy when we win, James. Don't put words in my
you a
mouth.
glory
That
hunter,
makes me.
Will?
I'm
Only
not a
happy when
glory
you win?
hunter. I'm happy that we won, but I will not forget sitting down or the home games being 4-0 down to the Jets
Oh yeah, that was
and
grim.
all those kinds of games that I've had to go to. So a few wins doesn't make me forget all the horror stories that happened this season. So I'm not unhappy that we won. I am so glad that we ended on a high note. Shut up. Right? I am very happy, but I'm not happy with you.
Of course.
Because you...
Yes.
Alex is thinking.
This
views.
guy has been showing me the many men
Oh,
David Zrillich
that was
edit,
fucking
right?
beautiful.
saying Zrillichin, Zrillichin. He has sat here, because I was sitting here originally, because he thought I might hit James when he started trying to rage bait me into hitting
This is
him.
why I've leant backwards, by the way.
So I have a clean
Just a
shot.
punch over.
Because you deserve it now.
I don't mean to be negative as well, but Wellington were absolutely pants.
Oh, they were shit house.
Yeah,
They were shit house.
So the two wins that we
The
picked
two
up in
that-
these big wow wins has been
and
against
this
the
was-
other worst defense in the league, other than us.
And this was
And
after
Wellington.
This was after being dicked down by Brisbane Roar at home.
Yeah.
3-1.
And also deciding just to collapse in Auckland.
Well,
So don't say that was a good performance. We could have lost 3 or 4
Well,
in that game.
hold on. I maintain that we defended reasonably okay, but we attacked like shit,
Yeah,
and it could have easily have been 3 or 4-0.
correct. So that's not a good performance.
This is going to be a controversial take.
Yes.
If David Williams hadn't done his ACL, we wouldn't have gotten the spoon.
I don't think
don't
it would have
agree.
just been on Willow. I think we had
I
too
don't
many issues.
agree.
I think we could have scored more than 22 goals this season.
No, but we would have beat Brisbane at home.
I don't think
No,
so.
but here's
Nah.
the thing: if David Williams comes in, then you don't see Jalen Pearman.
Oh no, you
as
might
much
see
as you
you
do.
might see Pearman off the left.
No, but you don't see like Pearman, bro.
True. Pearman in his position.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Um,
Well, it's not fair.
It's not
no.
fair.
You.
Alex, any final thoughts on the Wellington game? Happy? Sad?
Look, here's the thing: this season has taken so far just so much joy out of me
Mm-hmm.
that I couldn't muster up anything more than just like a
Good job,
when we scored.
Oh.
That second.
Who won? Wait, what?
Hold on, MGP.
MGP. Pennington won the Players' Player of the Year, so that he was voted by the players
Ooh.
as
See
Yeah,
the
'cause he was-
see the
no,
players
'cause
no ball, guys.
He was consistent.
Well,
Let's hope he
here's the
stays
thing.
next season.
Here's the thing. When we got that second goal from Tags, I could muster up nothing more than just
Because
like
you've
that,
been.
because I genuinely couldn't care.
I smiled.
But is that because? but is that because this season has just broken?
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
yes, entirely.
I know it's obvious, but it's like
Yeah.
this season, and for as much as I'm taking the piss, or have been taking the piss,
This season has been so bad that
It's
I
been
decided
shit.
to write a documentary on how shit we are as a football club.
If this was the first game of the season we wanted to know, I would be losing my mind going, oh my gosh, we're winning it all.
We're so bad.
We're winning the fuck up.
But we're not because, yeah, if we win 2-0 against the Phoenix round 1 next year, I will be bouncing off the walls for joy.
it's too
But
little, too late.
It is way too little, way too late.
Josh, thoughts on the Wellington game? in general?
I mean, we're still last.
Yeah.
I know that's negative.
By a pretty convincing
like,
margin too.
Look, I'm happy that we won, but it's like I don't know what you want me to say. Yay! I hate being negative. Like I love this club, but like,
Yay.
come on, like
Yay.
we're like,
Let's go.
It's the third spoon in 4 years. Like I can't.
It's shit, yeah.
I mean, it's better than losing, but like, still, come on. Also, as well, we have got to make the finals next year at an absolute minimum. I know that we say that every year, but it is crucial. If we get the spoon next year, honestly, fold the club. I'm not even joking. Like,
Yeah, so we got Spoon by 4 points, and we had
Bugger.
the worst goal difference by 12 goals.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so
Negative
Did we
34.
finish with the worst? We did not finish with the worst in A-League history.
no, we didn't. No, we brought it back with the Adelaide and this game.
How the hell did we do that?